guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new to my channel, my name is Crystal, and I strive to post on here as often as possible. I'm just going through daily accomplishments and struggles in regards to different medical conditions and dealing with people and personality and just being as positive as I can. So I would love to help give people tips and just make them feel not alone. So today's video is going to be one that I'm going to kind of cut short as much as I can. It's a long story, but it's been a bad couple days. So I, as promised, want to not only post the good, but be as transparent and honest as I can about the bad. So we had a little bit of a family emergency yesterday. Rick ended up in the emergency room. He got his room about 7 a.m. He woke up in just horrid pain at 5 a.m. After a quick talk to the advice nurse, we were advised to go straight to the ER. So we did. We were there. We didn't get home until about 2 p.m. In that, a lot of tests were done. We have just found that Rick has gallstone, possibly plural. We're not sure. We just know there's at least one big one that has caused him to almost lose his gallbladder yesterday. And going forward, we have to decide if he wants to wait to have another attack to have his gallbladder removed, or if it's something that he's going to go ahead and have removed beforehand, before the emergency. There's a lot of good to either one, so I definitely, we're going to talk to our regular doctor. We have the same doctor, and I know how he's going to feel about it because I've dealt with him for many, many years, and he's been with me through all of my diagnosis and testing. But it sounds, regardless, the gallbladder's coming out one way or another, either in an emergency surgery or a planned surgery. So we're definitely looking at that and just dealing with what that means. Hopefully we can discuss it and get it planned so that his work is ready and, it's not an emergency beforehand. It's a lot easier recovery this way. So fingers crossed we can discuss it and be on board before the next emergency happens. But, so that was that. We spent a lot of time there. I was extremely stressed out, because in that moment I wanted it to be all about his needs, and I put everything, my anxiety, my pain, I just had to put all that aside because it wasn't about me. And that's a huge thing I've been learning about. I have a great friend going through some struggles right now based off of things she's dealt with in her life and the way people behave. And it's opened my eyes a lot to different personalities, and I've always been very interested in psychology and the way our minds work. Unfortunately, my mind doesn't retain a lot, so even though I do a lot of research on the days that I can't get out or am not mobile, but that research doesn't always stick. But I find it really interesting, and I hope that all of you dealing with things can stop and think about maybe picking up a book about researching psychology, different mind types, different personalities, because it brings out a lot of things. I know for me personally, going through a diagnosis has put a huge wedge between me and people that I used to be very, very close with, and then it's opened the doors through me and people who weren't that close. And then some people just stayed consistent in their personality and have been the same person to me before, after, during, everything. So I find it really interesting. And it helped me not take things personally when I was able to research it, because people that I was super close with, that there was now a wedge in between us, I took that personally. I thought I did something. I thought it was about me. And I really had to stop and think that it's not all about me. And we should all know that. It's hard when you're dealing with something not to get stuck in the poor me, or, I'm dealing with something, it's got to be about me. If someone's mad at me, it must be my fault. It must be something I did. It's due to this or that. When in reality, it's something they're dealing with. They don't know how to handle you. They don't know how to treat you. So it's easier to shut you off than to deal with this uncertainty. So just try to remember that if someone is treating you differently, it's probably nothing to do with you and more to do with they don't know how to handle what's going on. I really had to remind myself yesterday that I wanted it to be all about Rick, in the sense that I only wanted to reach out to the people he wanted me to reach out to. I didn't want to talk about anything before he was ready. I didn't want to push him to announce anything or talk to anyone or tell anyone. So I was very, very strict on myself about only calling the few people he needed to know, mostly like work and things like that. Other than that, I really just kept it quiet until he was ready for me to kind of blanket announce what was going on with him. And I respect that because I believe until this day, I've never once made something like a post saying, I have this. I went to the doctor and I got diagnosed. I have done a lot of posting more recently, especially this month because it is MS Awareness Month. But I've done a lot of posting about the diagnosis, and as the years have gone on, I've posted things that I've gone through, but I've never felt the need to go online and post, like, my name is Crystal, and I was diagnosed with MS. I don't want to be seen as my disabilities. I'm still me. I'm still smiling, and I want to be me, and it may be a new me, but it's still me. So I know Rick is not huge on public, I don't know, same thing as me, kind of. He didn't want to post, oh, I'm going to the ER and get everyone all worried when we didn't even know if it was going to turn out to be nothing or something. He wanted all the answers before we started talking about it, and I 100% respect that, and I thank everyone else who 100% respected that. It was a very, very rough day. Just a lot of back and forth, a lot of testing before we even had somewhat answers. So I definitely want to thank the staff at the emergency room that we were at. I've already emailed the member services through our insurance to let them know the doctor's name and that him and his nursing staff were above any expectations we could have had. They are more appreciated than I can ever say. It was by far the best experience in an emergency that we could have had. I mean, knowledgeable men and women, just amazing bedside manner. All of them were so, so great. And I could not thank them or have picked a better staff if I tried. So that was a huge thing. Rick is back at work today. Like, he's, I'm sure, not feeling great, but he won't let it stop him. But I do really hope that he'll consider this surgery before we have another attack. So we're going to be dealing with that for the next couple weeks and deciding. I will definitely let you guys know if and when and what we decide, just because it is part of my life and it's part of what I want to talk to you about, and it's part of the things that make our situations. And it's very important to me to always know that my situations don't make me, and they can't choose how I feel. So just because something negative is happening doesn't mean I can't be thankful for the positive. Just because something is full of anxiety doesn't mean that I can't. Example, we had a very scary thing happening, but I still was able to see that we met the most amazing nurses. We learned so much. And yeah, I would rather it have not happened, but if it had to happen, it happened in the best way it could have, as far as the care we received, the time we went there, the doctors we had knowing what they knew. I mean, it could not have happened at a more appropriate time, I don't think. 5 o'clock in the morning wasn't my favorite time, obviously, but what the timing did for us is it put us there at a time where the right doctor was there, the right nurses were there. It was just an all-around good experience with a bad situation. And I feel like a lot of times we go through our days and we're kind of programmed to see the bad in everything. And so my goal, or my challenge, if you will, for you today, though we're still working on the challenge from the last video, so if you haven't watched it, I'll link it, but take a look. I think it's a really fun challenge, and I've had some really cool feedback on that one. But we're going to add another challenge. Feel free to start it now, start it later. But in any situation where you have something happen, negative, positive, something in between, but we're going to go just very generic. Something like you're driving down the road, the freeway, and a car cuts you off, rather than the immediate thought we all get, which is, oh, not we all, but a lot of people get, which is, oh, what a jerk, how dare he cut me off, he wasn't even paying attention. Rather than that, I challenge you to think of 3 reasons that have nothing to do with you that just happened. So, back to my example, this car just cut me off. When your mind wants to say, oh, what a jerk, why would he do that? I challenge you to think of 3 things. Example, oh my goodness, he probably didn't see me, which is probably the case. Or he thought he had more room than that, which is totally fine. He didn't realize how close I was. Another one, maybe he's dealing with something and he's on autopilot and didn't even realize he did it. Maybe he's having a family emergency. So that was 3, but I can keep going. It could be anything. It could be that he's super late and just didn't notice me, or he just lost someone, or something horrible just happened to him and he just didn't even see what he did. There's so many things that you can think of. And in the reality, that man did not wake up and say, today my goal is to cut so-and-so off and ruin their day. Didn't cross their mind. They didn't wake up and strive to be a jerk. It just is something that happened, and they may do it all the time, and that may be them. But why dwell on that when you can think of something different? I would rather think positively about someone and not have that eat away at me than to think negatively, which either could be true. I don't know one way or the other. I could think he's the nicest man in the world and he can be a jerk. And that's okay, but at least in my heart, I believe he's a good person. And vice versa, he could be the best person ever and have made a bad call. Cut it a little close. I would rather assume the better of someone than let the darkness eat away at me. So my challenge to you is just every situation that comes up. We had to go to the emergency room. We met amazing nurses. We know stuff that we wouldn't have known, and we got help that we may not have gotten on something that we didn't know was a problem until we went there. So I really, really encourage you to try to find 3 positive things and or 3 reasons that person was not out to get you. If it's a person in general that you're upset with, if it's a situation, find 3 positive things that maybe wouldn't have happened without that situation happening. It's a big task, and I know that. And it's taken me a long time to get there, and I am super blessed to already have that personality where I'm programmed to want to see the good. So, please, I ask you to try at least once, and if you don't want to keep doing it, that's okay. But if you can, just try to assume the best in everyone. And if nothing else, you'll start to notice the way that the mind works and the cynical way that media and everything is thrown into our head. It is crazy. My counselor that I see and I love very much has also, we've talked about the news. I basically have a prescription not to watch the news because what the media wants us to see is so negative. And we are so programmed to constantly, poor me, why me, everyone's out to get me. And we don't have to live that way. We can live the life where we can be good people. Just because everyone else isn't doesn't mean that we have to stoop to that. So please consider joining me. I take every challenge I give you as seriously, and I take them and I do them. And most of them I've been doing for a while, so I don't expect you to get results right away. But I do know that it has turned my life around, and I wish that for everyone. Sorry, super loud. School just got out, so I have all the kids driving by. But I definitely hope that you can join me in this challenge. Please, please, please feel free to comment below your experiences or email me. As always, I will link my email if it's something you want to tell me but you don't want it public. Also, any questions, any topics you want me to cover, I would be happy to do so. Again, you can recommend them in the comment box below, or you can email me personally. I check my email all the time. So please, please feel free to do that. If you have someone who you want to see this, you can share my videos. I am happy to, if you want to share me on Facebook, if you want to email me, whatever, I don't mind. If it helps someone, share away. Also, if you would like to subscribe to get all of my videos so I don't get lost in YouTube land, you can do so down below. There's a red subscribe button. And if you want notifications of when I post, there is a bell somewhere, I believe, up in this corner that you can push that will notify you when I do post. Because I don't have a set schedule, it might be convenient for you to know when I've actually posted if you want to stay on top of my videos. Other than that, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, positive week. Talk to you soon.